Thanks to Jersey Sports Zone, and Volpe makes almost the identical play.
At home, they call me Big Al, and I hit dingers.
Remember that young man, Big Al?
The Minnesota Lynx select Diamond Miller.
Video courtesy of Jersey Sports Zone.
It's an incredible goal, so that's nice. It's deserved the number one.
You got my food. Number 2, New Jersey high school football.
Here on Jersey Sports Zone.
This is episode 21, Blackjack. How about that for the Beyond the Score podcast? I'm Rich Krampanis. Thanks for watching Jersey Sports Zone's weekly look back on New Jersey high school sports. The Beyond the Score podcast is brought to you each and every week by RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together. Coming up on this week's show, James Mooney takes us on another awesome tour of New Jersey high school sports. We were back on ESPN SportsCenter with another top 10. We're going to talk about the hottest name in golf, Chris Gotterup, big supporter of JSZ. Plus, when we come back, we're going to go to one of the great basketball towns in this state, Camden, where the Panthers had quite a celebration. 40 years ago, the Camden boys basketball team was the number one team in America. One of the key players on that team, Vic Carstarphen. You might know that name in political circles. He is the mayor of Camden right now. But before that, he was a phenomenal basketball player, a great coach, and now leading that city. We're going to talk hoops with Vic Carstarphen when we return.
On the ice, you train to avoid getting checked. But in life, getting checked is the smart thing to do. By scheduling regular doctor visits and screenings, don't let joint pain, heart disease, or cancer go unchecked.
Get checked.
Time to talk a little basketball in this week's edition of the JSE Beyond the Score podcast. It is great to welcome in the mayor of Camden, who a lot of people will know him as the mayor. A lot of people will know him as the former Camden boys basketball coach. I remember him as one of the all-time great guards for the Temple Owls. We welcome in Vic Carstarphen. Mr. Mayor, so great to talk with you and talk a little basketball here.
Oh, it's great to talk and be here and talk about some good old times. Thank you.
Well, the reason we have you on this week is something special happened over the weekend at Camden, the 40th anniversary of the 1986 Camden team that went a perfect 30-0, finished number one in the country. You were a sophomore on that team.
Yes.
Your chief aide, Denny Brown, was on that team. So
yes.
Isn't it amazing that these two guys who are a huge part of the Camden community today in the overall city were such a key part of one of the all-time great basketball teams in New Jersey basketball history?
Yeah, I've known Denny since we were 7 years old, so I can't get rid of him. But he was a big part of that team. We were both sophomores. The catalyst on that team was Lewis Banks. He was a senior. What I remember about that year was the year before, my freshman year. It was 1985. We lost a state championship game to Elizabeth. A guy named Chris Gatlin, who went on to play in the NBA for 10 years, was on that team. It was a close game. We came back. So what I remember is getting back home, and Lewis Banks told us we are going to finish the job next year. We're going to win the state championship. Then he said to me, and we're not going to lose next year. Just imagine a ninth grader hearing your best player returning tell you we're not going to lose. That's wow, it's a lot of pressure. But it was an incredible year led by our coach, Clarence Turner, and we started out that year really unassuming. In South Jersey, we were ranked third preseason. Cherry Hill East had a great team coached by Coach Valori. 4 returning starters, was 4 Division I players on that team, and our crosstown rival Woodrow Wilson, which is now Eastside, was number 2. So nobody really saw that coming. We knew we had a tough schedule. We played 4 teams that were preseason top 25. We always played a strong out-of-conference schedule, and just game by game, it was just we win one, play another. And we just, got to a point where we entered the USA Today top 25, and we kept winning and winning. Some teams ahead of us lost. And it was a surreal time for our team, for the community. That was the same year, if you remember, Louisville won the national championship, and they had 3 Camden High basketball players on that team, Milt Wagner, Billy Thompson, and Kevin Wall. So it was just really great time for the city of Camden.
What was it like for you to have a reunion on Saturday prior to the Camden game and to get you all back together? And I mean, what a milestone! 40 years. It's making you and I feel a little bit old right now, but that's pretty wild. And I'm sure a lot of emotions came up just seeing everybody together.
Yeah, it was great. Some players I hadn't seen in some years. Lewis Banks, I hadn't seen Lewis in over 30 years maybe. And to have him come back home to be with the rest of our players. I think we had about 9 players there. Unfortunately, we lost 2 of our players that was on that team that passed. And just the people that surrounded our team, our cheerleaders, the fans, from the community, just the people that embraced us. And as you know, the city of Camden really, really is a basketball-driven community. We get behind our basketball team, in particular Camden High. And, they're strong supporters. And you're right, 40 years went by so fast, man. I look back and remember when I was in high school and there were players before me who would come back that was older. And I would sit there and say, oh, man, you played in 1960 and you listen to them. Now we're those guys talking to the younger players. And it's just a blessing, man. And people haven't forgot about it. They talk about it in my role now, and I speak about those times often more than what's going on now. People really remember those moments in the 80s, and just makes you feel good and proud of what we accomplished.
And it hasn't changed in 40 years. You talked about it. Boy, when you say basketball town, Camden is a basketball town. The passion of the entire community, they're there the entire run. We've seen it in recent years. As someone who is so connected with basketball, how does that help you as a leader of the entire city?
Well, I often talk in sports terms. My staff will tell you, my colleagues will tell you, just working together, everyone playing a part to the success of the city of Camden. I always say, as a point guard, I'm the facilitator, and I utilize those skills often. What I do is leadership as the mayor. And I said, nobody has an ego. One thing about that Camden High team, we didn't have an ego. We just played our behinds off to get that W, and that's what we talk about here in the city. No egos. We work together, figure out what helps make our community a better community, and we go. And we try to get that W for the city. And I've used the same things I've used throughout my life when it comes to me being a part of teams. And that approach has helped me in this space.
Well, as I talked about here at the top of the interview, I know you well as a great basketball player, a great guard at Temple University. And I wanted to take a moment to talk with you about someone who had a huge influence on your life, and for one day had a very big influence on my life. And that's the legendary Hall of Fame coach, John Chaney. I was a student at St. Bonaventure. Yeah, it's amazing how the world works here, Mr. Mayor. Our paths actually crossed about 30-something years ago. For those who don't know, I'll give a quick history lesson. At Temple and the teams that Mr. Carstarphen were on were among the very best in the country, and there was a dynamic point guard by the name of Mark Macon that was not allowed to do any interviews whatsoever because Coach Chaney thought for his development, he doesn't need that. As a student journalist, we had the opportunity to go cover a Temple shoot-around before a game at St. Bonaventure. Coach Chaney, because he believes in education so much, allowed a young student journalist and my colleagues. I want to say Charlie Cream was with me, who's now the bracketologist at ESPN. I'm not 100% sure, but we went to one of the infamous, and if you read about it, it is true, a 5 a.m. practice with Coach Chaney, and he allowed us to interview Mark Macon, who was untouchable, but he allowed student journalists to do that. That meant so much to me, and just to be in the presence of Coach Chaney and allowing us to have that kind of access, because he knew it was something that was huge for me, just to be able to be like, oh, I'm here with one of the best basketball teams in the country, and I'm getting access. It really left a profound effect on me. So that was just one little moment, and you got to be around John Chaney for your entire basketball career. So if you could just kind of expound to me what Coach Chaney meant to you. I feel for these younger kids, they need to know how important John Chaney is to the sport of basketball.
He's absolutely was a legend of a person, a legend of a basketball coach who believed in opportunity. So it doesn't surprise me that he gave some students, journalists like yourself, an opportunity to interview Mark Macon, which he, as a freshman, you're right, he didn't allow Mark to talk with anyone as a freshman, but he saw there was an opportunity to give you a chance. And that's what he was about, giving student athletes a chance. Often student athletes who some people left behind, whether it was because they didn't show up and got the right score on a test that would allow them to be able to play at a certain time when they came into college. He gave, us a chance, and he was tough, but he cared for us, and you knew that, and you felt that. People often talk about stories with Coach, how gruff he was, how, he was just a strong individual, but he cared so much about his players. Until his death, we were all close. We all leaned on his stories, his wisdom. We often talk, players, my teammates, we often talk in Coach Chaney language. Got a good friend, one of my good friends, Rick Brunson. He's a coach at the New York Knicks, assistant coach for the Knicks. His son is Jalen Brunson. We were in school together. We often talk about Coach all the time. Like, what would Coach say? Coach-isms. We talk in that language, and for individuals that's been out of school 30-something years, to a man that had that profound effect on us, it says a lot. Mark Macon, Eddie Jones, Aaron McKee, Tim Perry. He touched a lot of players' lives, and we were lucky to have a special man in our life during that time.
I'm just so glad. Kind of a history lesson, because we do have some younger people listening and watching this podcast. If they could just Google John Chaney, like I said, I'm glad I was able to honor him in this very small way by talking to you and understanding what that meant to me, and you understanding it better than anyone. And I don't know if I ever got up that early again in college. It was well worth it. So now we're getting ready for the playoffs. Look, we're ready for Camden basketball always. I got to think it'd be a fun thing for you, because as the mayor, you can be the chief cheerleader, but I still think you might have the most handles of any mayor in New Jersey, right? So how does Camden look here going into the postseason? What can we get ready for?
I like our chances. We had a 6'9" player who injured his knee at the beginning of the season, so kind of threw us in a little rut, but I think we're playing the right brand of basketball. Looking forward to this Camden County tournament that's coming up to see how we match up with the rest of the teams in the county. Got a good coach. He's our first year. And in South Jersey, I like our chances on getting out and seeing what we can do after that. So I am the biggest cheerleader, I tell you. But as the mayor, I love all my schools.
Right.
It's not. I love all the schools in the city of Camden. Some people say I'm a little biased from Camden High, but I love all my schools. I wish every school well when it comes to playoffs Eastside, Leap, Kit, Mastery, all of Uncommon, all of our schools. But I bleed purple and gold. So.
Well, Vic Carstarphen, mayor of Camden, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time with us. And we have such great respect for the Camden basketball program. Even during the tough times there a couple of years ago, Camden was always great to us. And we're always going to be there with our cameras, and we're always going to bring highlights and shine a spotlight on those great kids in your entire county. So it's great to talk with you, and I look forward to seeing you hopefully at the state tournament, and maybe we'll see the purple again.
Absolutely. You guys keep up the good work. I follow you a lot, man. You bring a lot of the visual, and you bring a lot of attention to different schools across our county. So keep up the good work.
If you have chronic joint or back pain, this is probably where you spend your time. Might we suggest a better destination that's close to home? RWJ Barnabas Health, where orthopedic surgeons designed the surgical implants that are now used around the world, and where you'll be cared for by the same doctors that treat professional athletes and rising stars. Get back to what you've been missing. Orthopedic care. Do it right. Here, RWJ Barnabas Health.
For over 2 decades, ACI Medical and Dental School in Eatontown has been helping students succeed. Their short-term programs can jumpstart a long-term career. In less than 5 months, how about a 90% employment rate? Pretty impressive. It's a great pathway to nursing and dental hygiene, perfect for second careers, college grads, or empty nesters. A career in the medical field is safe from AI and provides long-term job security. So if you head over to ACI Medical and Dental School, they will set the table for you whether you want to be a dental assistant or a medical assistant. Call 732-440-4110 and learn how medical assistants can earn up to 4 national credits and 10 college credits. ACI Medical and Dental School, a new beginning on Broad Street in Eatontown. We've got some great ACI Medical and Dental School games of the week on tap. Coming up on Thursday, it is the Hanston Cup. We will find out who the top hockey team in the Shore Conference is. That's always a great game at Jersey Shore Arena. It's going to be packed to the gills. It might be so filled up that I got to go into the penalty box and hopefully don't get hit in the face with a puck. So stay tuned for that. And then we'll have Shore Conference girls basketball action for our ACI Medical and Dental girls basketball game of the week. Just want to thank our good friend Frank Preston and everybody at ACI Medical and Dental for allowing us to shine a spotlight on female athletes every single week, as well as the guys. And remember, if you're looking for a change, if you're looking for something different than college, ACI Medical and Dental can get you up and running and employed within 5 months. Their employment rate is phenomenal. The results speak for themselves. Check them out, ACI Medical and Dental School. We'll be right back. Princeton Orthopedic Associates serves Central Jersey with world-class, world-recognized orthopedic care. A special thanks to Bill Heinsick and Princeton Orthopedic Associates for supporting New Jersey athletes and Jersey Sports Zone for the last 9 years.
It's really nice to be in a situation, in a place where there are very good people who take good care of people.
Orthopedics it's not about saving lives, it's about saving quality of life.
A lot of people, we live high stress lives, so if you tell someone they can't do something for whatever reason, that's pretty traumatic.
I really take pride in trying to be empathetic and trying to put myself in every patient's shoes.
I want to take care of people like I'd want to take care of my family, and I think that when you do that and give somebody that family feeling and give them your honest opinion for what you would do, they value that.
Wow, we had another awesome week in New Jersey high school sports, and it's time to bring in our South Jersey man, James Mooney, who is going to guide us through another week of the rundown. This was a pretty easy rundown this week, James. We had a lot of good stuff to talk about.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff, but I think the question was, where do we start? There were so many good things,
Right.
But I think a good place to start, Bridgewater-Raritan getting on the national stage, Sasha Abolenskiy making the ESPN top 10. An incredible goal, just about everything you could possibly want out of a high school highlight. Rich, you were lucky enough to be the one shooting it. How awesome was that?
I think what's awesome about it, James, is, and look, I'm not saying anything disparaging about ESPN. They've national, worldwide leader in sports. They have a limited scope of what they can do. So, the highlights got to kind of be right there. the part about the highlight, which I think is amazing that we didn't overlook, is that the goalie, Justin Madison, assisted that insane goal. So you don't see goalie assists every day. And sometimes it's a little lucky if you're a goalie assist. He goes behind the boards, gets this pass. He hits it off the boards, kind of ricochets to Sasha, and then Sasha goes and does what Sasha does. And, we learned, that I guess like a great guard play in basketball, you can have an ankle breaker in hockey. And that's exactly what Sasha did. And you understand this probably as good as anybody, James. Sometimes you can fall in love with your own highlights, and you're like, okay, maybe this is this not as good as I think it is. I put it up on social media right away, and by the time I got on the drive home, it started to kind of like, whoa, this is a pretty awesome highlight. And a lot of times, if we have something, we try not to be the boy who cried wolf. We'll send stuff to ESPN and just say, hey, take a look at this, and hey, we'll see what happens. This time, ESPN reached out to us, which somebody at ESPN saw it on social media. The assignment desk does follow Jersey Sports Zone, and they were like, "Hey, can we get this highlight?" And when you get that call, that's like, okay, we're in the mix. We always joke around too when you get something like that. You say, "Hey, let's hope that nothing crazy, incredible happens in sports." Because that could just knock you maybe out of consideration for the top 10. So I think it was a great night that the NHL's on winter break for the Olympics. Light night in the NBA. Not a huge college basketball night, just a few games here and there. And all of that adds up to Sasha winding up as the number 5 play on ESPN SportsCenter, which I think is great to shine the spotlight on Bridgewater-Raritan for them to enjoy that. I know the hockey team was really excited about it, justly so. And what a cool moment. It doesn't get old. That's the 9th time that a Jersey Sports Zone clip has been on ESPN's top 10. I like to put Big Al as an asterisk because he wasn't on the top 10, but Big Al was in SportsCenter.
Right.
Like they ran the home run from his freshman year it was in the rundown. Like it was like, forget about top 10. We're going to put this as a story. So I always I always put that as like an asterisk. Like it should have been in the top 10. What the ironic part was we sent it and they didn't use it in the top 10. Then a day later, somebody put 2 and 2 together and said, "Oh, this is Big Al from Little League World Series," and then they did a whole segment on it on SportsCenter. So, really cool. And again, we try to be a beacon of positivity and shining a spotlight on kids and giving them exposure. I think that's one big thing. Our platform has grown to the fact that we get a lot of different kinds of people watching Jersey Sports Zone content, and for us to put Bridgewater-Raritan, in between a UConn dunk, New Orleans Pelicans block shot, major D1 lacrosse, to be in the middle of that is really cool. So always exciting to be on the SportsCenter top 10. And who knows when, the next one might come 4 years from now, or it might come tomorrow. It just there's a randomness to it. And, we just try to do the best we can, and it's always about the kids, right? Like we're going to be there, and it's on them, and they rarely disappoint us. They always come through with something good, and it kind of goes back to our personal top 10. If you look at this week's top 10 on JerseySportsZone.com, it's out there now on social media. We had a great week of highlights. It was easy choice for number 1. The guy on ESPN is going to get the number 1 play.
Right.
James, you had a good run of dunks.
Oh, yeah.
You had a dunk week. I want to say we actually, there were so many dunks, we didn't use one of your dunks on the top 10. I think you had 4 or 5, and we wound up using 3 or 4 of them. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was a great week. A great week of highlights all across the board. Always great to see some of our stuff end up on ESPN, too. It's a testament to what these athletes are able to do every day, and, we see it here, we see it every day, and the nation doesn't get to see it as much, but when they do get to see that, it's really awesome to see. So we'll go from the ESPN top 10 to we'll go to the Devils' top 5 goals of the month. Cody Glass was front and center checking out the best of Jersey Sports Zone's January hockey. A little early this year because of the this month because of the Olympics. But Rich, another great night with the Devils at the Rock.
It was fantastic. We had the opportunity to spend a little time with Cody Glass, Devils' last game before they went on the Olympic break. And I thought what was interesting about this one, my takeaway were two things. One was we had 2 girls' goals in our top 5, which I thought was just awesome. We had Sydney Sun from Trinity Hall and Taylor Ahrens from Immaculate Heart. Taylor Ahrens is a freshman, so It was kind of cool to see such a young athlete come to the Prudential Center and get honored. And it was really cool to have 2 goals. And look, we set the bar pretty high as far as the quality of the video and the quality of the goals that are going up on that scoreboard. So those 2 goals were very well earned. And then we had Andrew Lisnock from Westfield. We had Cale White from West Essex, whose dad was a New Jersey Devil. Found that out. Stanley Cup winner. So the Devils pointed that out to me, which I was like, oh, wow. And he's like, yeah, I don't like to tell too many people. I just want to kind of make my own accomplishments. I said, mission accomplished, because we had no idea. And so he's a little familiar with being around Newark and the Prudential Center. And then Matt Zox from Livingston was our number 1 goal. The big takeaway, besides girl power, awesome job, 2 girls' goals, was that Cody Glass, his analysis was really focused on the sellies. He loved that Andrew Lisnock in that Union County final, he did the Ovechkin. He went full belly across from the red line to the other blue line. Cody Glass got the biggest kick out of that. Now, the place where I was in Waranaco, you don't really see you see the goal perfect. The celly, he kind of goes out of, like, he's like under the board, so I don't have a good shot of the celly. But I thought that Cody Glass was into the cellies. He was analyzing the cellies more than he was analyzing the goals. Like, he was just like, every time he saw the goal, his approval was just going, oof. Like, he did that 5 times. Like, so that was like, okay, this is a legit goal. But then he really broke down the cellies. He liked that Taylor Ahrens jumped up. He's like, oh, you got some nice air there. So he was breaking down the cellies. So I'm thinking in my head, like, when we're looking at our top 5 for the last month, cellies have to be a factor, because I think the Devils players enjoy watching the cellies just as much as the goals. So, Sasha Abolenskiy, who had that goal on ESPN, not only was it this sick goal, he did the twirl celly, which was pretty cool. So he had everything. Like I said in the post, goalie assist, check. Insane breakaway goal, check. Awesome celly, check. So for the hockey players out there, let's get some good sellies going here as we're getting into cup season and the playoffs. And I think that could be the factor that gets you to the Prudential Center and honored by the Devils. But I love that Cody Glass enjoyed the sellies just as much as he did the goals. That was my big takeaway. And get to spend time with the kids. James, we're always running around. It's constant. We get a couple of minutes of post game, and then we're off to editing. They're off either to go home and get homework done or get on the bus and get back to school. It was fun to spend 20 minutes with some of the top players in the state, getting geared up. And they're just like us, James. They're asking about the brackets. Who have you seen? Have you seen this team? What do you think of this team? And they're giving me some good intel of, hey, watch out for this team. Those guys were really good. So that was really enjoyable for me, that I got to spend some quality time with some outstanding players. Again, 2 young ladies where I was like, wow, girls hockey gets better every year, so keep it up. We've seen the growth of the girls hockey game in the state, and I think 2 players on the girls' side being there for top 5 goals is a sign of that.
Oh, that's tremendous. It's absolutely tremendous. As we've seen the girls' game grow more and more over the years here, just tremendous to see 2 girls making the cut for top 5 goals. And want to say thank you again to the Devils. First class effort from them every time we do one of these events. And we'll be back there in March, correct?
3 days after the state championship. So we got March 9 is our state finals, and then March 12 is our last one. So we talked about it briefly, that We'll have the best goals of the playoffs. I think we probably leave one slot open for the best state championship goal, and we'll turn right around and go back to the Prudential Center one more time. So it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it's always gonna be awesome. And you can always check out those highlights as we cover those games on JerseySportsZone.com. Speaking of some big things we had on JerseySportsZone.com, Rich, you had a wrestling duel between multiple-time state champions, not even just defending state champs. Southern and Delsea going down to the wire out in Manahawkin on Saturday afternoon.
Why are these guys state champs? Because they wrestle matches like this. You know, they could both say, hey, let's stay away from a tough match. And it really didn't set in until I looked up at the banners in Manahawkin, and I saw, oh yeah, I knew they won last year. And I'm like, okay, yeah, 25 state champs. And then right next to that, 24 state champs, 23 state champs. Like, oh, they've won 3 of these things in a row. Southern Regional, Group 5 state champ. And then you're like, boy, I've been to Rutgers a bunch. Every year Delsea's there. How many have they won? 4. So in the last 4 years, these two teams could have won 4 state championships each. They have 7. Delsea 4, Southern 3. Delsea's a Group 3 dynamo. Southern's a Group 5 dynamo. And these two awesome schools went head-to-head on a Saturday early afternoon in Manahawkin, packed to the gills, and then you watch this match unfold, and you realize this is why these two teams are at the top of the mountain, and they're going to be very tough to knock off this year. It was awesome back and forth. Delsea fell behind early. They lost the first 3 matches. Pin, tech fall, pin. So they're down 17-0. Delsea rallies right back. They got a number of great ranked wrestlers. Get right back into it, and then you get towards the end, and it's Delsea gets a pin at heavyweight to get within 3, 34-31. It comes down to 106. You've got a freshman for Southern, Jonas Lusker, going up against a senior from Delsea, and you think, wow, okay, what's going to happen here? You know, can Delsea get a major and get out of here with 3 straight wins and get on the bus beating Southern? And Lusker really stepped up, but the atmosphere was off the charts. Talk about the national scene, right, which is the private schools, the Blairs, the Del Bartons, you know, CBA. That's one side of the coin. And then you talk about these public schools, and you talk about wrestling towns. And to me, I'd put Phillipsburg right up there, and then I'd put the people in Manahawkin and Southern Regional. I think they are as savvy a wrestling crowd. They know everything that's going on. They're so in tune to everything. They understand who's getting bumped up. They understand who's stalling. And I just, what a knowledgeable crowd. And it was fun to watch. Great job by Lusker to get the 5-1 decision. And that's a big win for Southern. And I think it helps both teams. I think I didn't walk out of there thinking anything less of Delsea. I think Delsea is going to be right back there. James, you've seen them down there in South Jersey, as first class a program as you'll find anywhere in the state. And I'd be surprised if they're not at Rutgers 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It would be hard to imagine being at Rutgers in a couple of Sundays and not seeing Delsea and Southern there. They're certainly year in, year out, 2 of the top public programs in all of New Jersey.
Yeah, and again, I think it was great to see them do this with the state playoffs around the corner. This week is kind of a staging week in New Jersey high school wrestling. It's the tournament is, I don't know. The coaches probably maybe would have a different opinion, but I'd like to see it a little more spread out. They're going to go twice on Monday, section finals Wednesday, state semis Friday, state finals on Sunday. So that's, you want to talk about a run there. You got to be ready to go. And, you know, you get that recovery day and you're right back at it against the very best in the state when it comes to team competition. And after that, we'll get into districts and regions and the road to Atlantic City. But what a week that's going to be coming up next week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. That's what it's going to take for a team to be a state champion. 7 state champs in New Jersey. It'll all happen a week from Sunday at Rutgers. It's going to be a wild ride, James.
It really is. From the team side and even the individual side, you have to run a gauntlet to win a state championship in wrestling in the state of New Jersey. And I give those guys all the credit in the world for what they have to battle through just to even get to a state final and then, to potentially bring home the hardware. It takes a lot. It takes a lot, and I give those guys all the credit in the world. So speaking of running gauntlets, Gill St. Bernard's on a 16-game winning streak coming off a win against Rutgers Prep in boys basketball, potentially a Somerset County tournament final. Rich, talk to me a little bit about GSB.
Well, I think we've been giving a lot of attention to some of the top teams in the state, and we've talked a lot about Bergen Catholic. We've talked a lot about Plainfield, giving our flowers to Roselle Catholic, all rightfully so. And I think my takeaway was we've gotten Gill a couple of times, and boy, they are one heck of a basketball team. We got them beating CBA at the Big Jersey Showcase. CBA is a top 10 ranked team in the state. And then Sean Dugan does a great job on the highlights. Rutgers Prep, a battle. You had 4 players in that game score over 20 points. 2 from Gill, 2 from Rutgers Prep. We all know that Will Brunson is a rising superstar in the New Jersey basketball ranks from Rutgers Prep. And Gill has a guy named Dorset Mulcahy. It's about time we start talking about Dorset Mulcahy. He's legit. And especially here at Jersey Sports Zone, it just is a natural progression because his older brother, Paul Mulcahy, lived in Jersey Sports Zone highlights.
Right.
He was one of the greats. And so to see Dorset do what he did in a big spot against Rutgers Prep just reminded me like, hey, let's give some love to Gill. We've been talking about a lot of different teams. It's time for us to show respect that Gill St. Bernard's is one of the very best in New Jersey. And now let's see where they go. Again, you don't root for teams, you don't root for situations, but I'll be honest, I want to see Gill and Rutgers Prep in that Somerset final.
Wouldn't that be
That
something?
will be fantastic. That'd be amazing. So Somerset's a tough tournament. We've got other teams in there, right? Montgomery. I think we're going to get Montgomery-Gill this Saturday in the semis. How good is that game going to be?
Yes, please.
Ethan Lynn against Dorset Mulcahy. So we have Ryan Sudol's going to get those highlights. So just tremendous. I think the purpose of us to put Gill here was time to recognize Gill, and 16-game win streak, playing the schedule that they're playing is awfully impressive.
Totally agree. I mean, the amount of things that need to go right on a win streak of this length, it's unbelievable. And they're going to be carrying a ton of momentum into that Somerset tournament. Really hope. We like a little bit of chaos in some of these brackets, but sometimes chalk gives us great matchups too. So we just hope for the best possible matchups we can, and we'll be all over that Somerset County tournament in the coming weeks.
And so we do go back in the past here. Our Blast from the Past segment is brought to you by the Heldridge Hotel in New Brunswick. A guy that you're real familiar with and I'm real familiar with. Again, I think he was one of the guys, if we start a Jersey Sports Zone Hall of Fame, and look, we're going to be 10 years in the books next year, who knows? But Paul Mulcahy was one of the greats, lived on the Jersey Sports Zone highlights, went on to an awesome career at Rutgers, did the 5th year at the University of Washington. James is a Rutgers grad. I know that you have fond memories of the Paul Mulcahy college version as well as the high school. But to me, the thing that's amazing, and you can relate to this, is we make our little thumbnails for YouTube, and I saw the Dorset Mulcahy thumbnail on our Rutgers Prep highlights. He wears the headband just like Paul does. And when you put them side by side, which I'm going to do right now, I'm going to make this graphic. No need for a DNA test. These are the Mulcahy brothers, correct?
Correct. No DNA test, no 23andMe needed. Those are brothers.
So there you go. So we're going to go back in the archives, and we're going to have Tyler Mraz take us back to a great era of Jersey basketball and the great Paul Mulcahy in this week's Blast from the Past. It's time for another Blast from the Past, brought to you by the Heldridge, New Brunswick's only 4-star hotel.
Welcome to Blast from the Past. I'm Tyler Mraz. Dorset Mulcahy recently scored 29 points in Gill St. Bernard's win over Rutgers Prep. Back in 2019, JSC saw Dorset's older brother Paul Mulcahy put together an impressive stat line amidst his Mr. Hoop Zone campaign.
Third quarter, we saw Mulcahy shift into scoring mode. This step-back three is a dagger. I'll tell you what, if you leave Mulcahy open, he'll take advantage of the open look. Gill St. Bernard's takes a 33-28 lead. How about this stat line for the senior? 20 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. He does it night in and night out. Blast from the Past is brought to you by the Heldridge, New Brunswick's only 4-star hotel and a preferred hotel of Rutgers football fans since 2005. The Heldridge helps you make the most of your game day weekend, providing premium accommodations in the cultural heart of downtown New Brunswick. Restaurants, bars, theaters, parks, museums, and more are only steps away. Whether you're traveling alone or with a large group, book your stay at the Heldridge and make the most of your game day weekend.
Dream big, they say. We say dream bigger. Over 3 million square feet of bigger, so you can plunge deeper. Play in the snow longer. Wonder greater. Pose with your friends sillier. Shop with your family happier. Make every meal tastier. And float higher than ever. Whatever your dream is, come live it big time at American Dream.
All right, we left off the rundown talking basketball and Gill St. Bernard's basketball. One more big basketball headline to bring your way. It happened last week, and James, sometimes timing is everything in this business. Timing didn't work out for us perfectly here because while we were taping last week's podcast on a Monday, we got the news as soon as we shut down the cameras that we had not one, but 2 McDonald's All-Americans. Deron Rippey Jr. at Blair Academy, no surprise there whatsoever. One of the best players in America, going to Duke, going to represent Blair Academy at the All-American game. And then it's not a surprise to us, but certainly wasn't a guarantee. How awesome is it that Addie Nyemchek from Red Bank Catholic is heading to the McDonald's All-American game, representing the Caseys, representing New Jersey girls basketball, the first ever Indiana Hoosier signee to be a McDonald's All-American. Wow. So she's bringing a new profile to that program. But it happened on Monday, so we wanted to make sure we didn't put this aside. It's a great moment for New Jersey basketball. And look, especially on the girls' side, they got it right. We knew that Rippey was going to make it, okay? You know, that one wasn't a shocker. We were just kind of looking down the list, and we wanted to see Addie's name on there, and it was on there. And the way New Jersey is playing girls basketball at the collegiate and high school level, there needs to be a Jersey girl, until further notice, every year in the McDonald's game. And Addie Nyemchek's the right representative for this state.
Oh, I totally agree with you there, Rich. With the way New Jersey girls are dominating the collegiate game, I think that's a nice stipulation for the McDonald's All-American selection committee to have. Make sure you got at least one Jersey girl.
Absolutely. And a few years back, Justine Passat, who's now at Vanderbilt, she, in 2022, was an All-American. So how about RBC having 2 McDonald's All-Americans in the last 4 years? Zoe Brooks, who's been unbelievable at North Carolina State. Boy, she is putting up some crooked numbers. She was there a couple years back. There's so many more. Michaela Blakes, Mia Paldo, Olivia Miles. The list goes on and on. But I think Addie getting in there is a great thing. And, for Deron Rippey, the reality is setting in. We gotta get what we can get. We're gonna miss seeing him in New Jersey, right? So I know that the Prep A finals coming up. We're gonna get him at least there. They're gonna go off and play the Prep Nationals. We got them on Friday beating Phelps at PA, and He's so darn good, James. And then you watch that Duke North Carolina game, right? We're so enthralled and all in on New Jersey high school sports, but we're all just like you guys, like, hey, we want to watch the big Super Bowl game, everything. Duke North Carolina, that's religion if you're a sports fan. And then you see all the madness is going on and realize, hey, Duran's going to be there next year. Like, how cool is it going to be for us to watch Duke Carolina with Duran Rippey right there? That's going to be awesome.
Oh, it is. And I think he's going to fit in just right in that rivalry. I cannot wait for the first Duke North Carolina next season with Duran in the lineup. It's going to be a lot of fun.
No doubt about it. So congrats to our 2 All-Americans. What an incredible honor. And they'll be heading to Phoenix last week of March, and they're gonna represent this state proud. And let's try and get as many highlights of them as we can here, because it's getting to be the end game. We'll see Addie in the short conference tournament. We're certainly going to get her in the state playoffs. And like I said, we're going to get Duran Rippey at least one more time and enjoy him in that Blair Bucks uniform as his magnificent high school career is coming to a close.
Yeah, so as we talk about people who are representing the Garden State well, let's talk about another guy from South Jersey who will be representing New Jersey at the collegiate level. Amari Sabb committing to Alabama on the eve of National Signing Day. Our guy Tyler Miraz was front and center there at Chickies and Pete's in Glassboro. Just awesome to see. Amari was up for our Zoman Trophy this past season after another tremendous season at Glassboro. Rich, another Jersey guy in Alabama. I'm sure he'll be right at home right there with Latsier Brooks.
The Alabama staff has done their homework, and clearly South Jersey has been very kind to the Crimson Tide. I think Alabama fans would agree, and so why not? And in a perfect world, I am sure that Alabama would like to see Xavier Sabb become the third Sabb to wear the Crimson Tide helmet. So I think he solidified his position as a Power 4 top player with the senior season he had at Glassboro. It's easy to get lost in the mix. They do a lot of dominating in the regular season, but he was able to stand out in the right way when you really get into the film, which we get to do, right? When we say, hey, let's, put Amari Sabb as one of our 5 best players, and we put a highlight reel together, and you come back and go, hey, this highlight reel is pretty long, just a heads up. You're like, yeah, well, that's why he's on here, right? Because he didn't make just a good play in this game or a good play in that game. He made good plays, multiple, week in and week out. And now he's going to go to a program and work his way and try and make the same impact that his brother did. Say Latsier, I think the fact that Latsier got so good so quick in the college game, that's never a guarantee. You can have all these great high school stats in the world and dominate down here. When you up that level, to see Latsier Brooks there, playing in such big games on the biggest stage, it's exciting. And you think about it, we keep bragging about our guys, and it doesn't lie. Last week we had the number 1 recruit in the country, Luke Wafel, is at Southern Cal. He's out there in L.A. We got a glimpse of that. I feel like we got to maybe get one of the Sabbs or Latsier to give us a little tour. I feel like that should be one of our things here on this podcast. Like, let's call these guys and let's get little tours of these facilities, because that Southern Cal facility took my breath away. I was at the Alabama facility a long time ago, James. I got to cover a Coastal Carolina Alabama NIT game, and I decided to say, hey, before I put my media hat, I want to be a tourist here. And I walked around Bryant-Denny Stadium, and I got a chance to walk around the Alabama facility. And, boy, they know what they're doing. These big-time college football programs, Ohio State, Notre Dame, where all these Jersey guys are, they know what they're doing. So really cool for Amari. I'm happy for him. And great job by Coach Breaker, once again, getting these kids ready for the next level. And I think we're going to get to do this all over again with Xavier. And I think the recruiting there will be hotter and heavier than his older 2 brothers.
Oh, my God. Yeah. You look at Xavier's his X page, it's a who's who of college football coaches stopping by Glassboro. The day after Bill Belichick was snubbed from the Hall of Fame, he was at Glassboro High School recruiting Xavier. So it is already hot and heavy. But, shout out to Amari. I got to interview him a couple of times, and just a great head on his shoulders, tremendous athlete. He was one of the unquestioned leaders of that Glassboro team over the last couple of years, and just really, really happy to see him land in such a great spot down there in Tuscaloosa. So while we're talking about, another guy representing Jersey well, our guy, Chris Gotterup, probably gave us the most exciting part of Super Bowl Sunday, considering how the Super Bowl actually went. Chris Gotterup winning the Waste Management Open out there in Phoenix.
Yeah, what a pregame show. I was trying to do a little bit of work before the Super Bowl, work on our all-zone teams a little bit. And I'm watching Gotterup there on the back nine, and you're seeing the tea leaves, and you got Hideki Matsuyama, who's a Masters champion, sitting there at 17, and Gotterup got on a heater there on the back nine. And when you stop and really look at it, what he did was unreal. He birdied 6 of the last 7 holes, and the hole that he parred was that stadium par 3 16th. He missed a 9-footer. And that atmosphere is different than any other event on the tour. It's basically the PGA's version of Coachella. It's right. A booze fest. Everybody is enjoying some beverages, and there's 25,000 people on that stadium hole seating there on the 16th. And I was laughing because I know Chris well enough that he got a charge out of it. Here he is. He's contending on Sunday at the Phoenix Open. He missed a 9-footer. They're booing him. They're booing him after, like, oh, sorry, I didn't birdie 4 holes in a row. The shot he hit on 18, where he hit it in the rough, and he's 130 out with the grandstands right there, and he hits it to within 3 feet and taps in for birdie to get to 16 under. That's an otherworldly shot. So a couple of weeks ago, James, he won the Sony Open, and you and I were like, this guy's an up-and-comer. This guy, he's going to be rising through the ranks. It took 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Right. The narrative has changed. He's here. He is the number 5 golfer in the world today. A year ago, he was ranked 201st. When we interviewed him 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, he was trying to get on the tour full time. And all that stuff, he is here. He is the number 5 golfer in the world, and no one in the golf world is going to dispute that ranking. On Thursday, he shot a 63 playing in a threesome with Jordan Spieth and Scotty Scheffler. Jordan Spieth has 3 majors. Scotty Scheffler is head and shoulders the number 1 player in the world. Scotty Scheffler shot 73. Chris Gotterup shot 63. Now, Scheffler found himself and got right up to 15 under and was right there. Just remind everyone, he's still the number 1 golfer in the world. Make no bones about it. But this talk we had of 3 weeks ago is like, it's like we almost got to throw it away, James. Like it's like a cold take. He's here. He's going to contend in majors, and I think the rest of the state and a lot of media people are going to now be here, and you're going to see all this Chris Gotterup content across the state, because it's no longer, hey, there's this guy out there on the tour. He is now one of the biggest names in golf, end statement, period.
Oh, yeah, no questioning that. Absolutely no questioning that. You know, we try to temper our takes a little bit just so they don't age poorly. This is one I'm okay with aging a little poorly. The Chris Gotterup is here, and I think we can officially put him on Masters Watch in a couple of weeks. Am I right?
I absolutely. And the other question is he the most famous follower of Jersey Sports Zone? If you look at our social media, we've got a lot of people. We've got a lot of, people that follow us. That could be a fun summer project for an intern. I think that Chris Gotterup is probably the most famous of our Jersey Sports Zone followers. He has not unfollowed us.
Well, thank God for that.
That's the question I had driving in here. Is he our most famous follower? We've got some good ones. That could be a fun side project, who our best followers are. I got to think of some coaches, too. We've got a lot of assistant coaches at big-time programs follow us. No question about it. But I thought that was a fun project. I was like, wow, Chris Gotterup is probably our most famous follower of JSZ.
No one plans on heart disease, but everyone should have a plan for it. We help patients of all lifestyles and medical histories plan for healthy hearts. We offer convenient screenings without judgment, hundreds of preventive programs, and women's heart specialists. And we're the largest cardiac surgery program in New Jersey. Make plans for a healthy heart with RWJ-Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
JAG Physical Therapy is a trusted name in quality treatment. Get back the life you love. Thanks to JAG Physical Therapy for supporting New Jersey athletes and Jersey Sports Zone for the last 5 years.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Get back the life you love.
We're at the end of the road when it comes to the wheel for the winter sports season, James. It's time for our final spin where we promise coverage to anybody who reaches out to us on social media. We want to thank all the teams that went into our DMs and asked us to cover games. We've been able to get to most of them. I know that we've got Ryan Sudal is getting the Paramus boys while we're taping, so we're going to get that one. I need to get the Red Bank Regional guys. It might be the state playoffs. It might be in the Shore Coaches Cup. We had a Rahway loss and a Willingboro win. So playoffs are starting up. So we got to put the wheel aside. It will return in the spring. We'll have lacrosse on there, baseball, softball. It'll be fun. We'll start it up right away too. I think we started a little late. The winter's kind of crazy with the holidays, James. It's like we get like 2 or 3 weeks, then we got Christmas and New Year's, and then we start back up again. But this time we're going to start it up like right on opening day. We'll get the wheel going. But the wheel's been fun, hasn't it?
Yeah. Always it's a little added bonus to what we typically do day in, day out, and it gives us an opportunity to maybe get to some spots we wouldn't normally be. So, let's hope for a good one this week.
Okay, we're going to try, and the wheel is spinning. We do want a girls' game. We have not gotten a girls' game this winter. Is it going to change? Oh, once again, so close to the girls. The Middlesex boys basketball team out of the GMC. They won a game ball earlier this winter. So I'm looking forward to getting the Middlesex boys. Myself or Ryan will get that. Try and maybe get an early GMC battle. That'll be good. Middlesex Blue Jays win the final edition of the Winter Wheel. We will cover a Middlesex boys basketball game before the season comes to a close. And again, thank you to everyone for taking the time to shouting us out, asking us to cover your game. We get it all the time, so that's how the wheel was born. We thought, hey, everybody who reaches out to us, let's put them on the wheel. We will see you in the spring. So if you're a baseball, softball, lacrosse team, or a girls' flag football team, we'll have a lot of options. This could be a very big wheel in the spring, James.
We might need 2 wheels at this rate.
There you go. Something to think about. But another great week in New Jersey high school sports. Thanks so much for consuming our content, whether you're watching the clips on social media or you're watching it on YouTube, listening in your car. You can get this podcast all those ways and much more. Just go onto our homepage, click on the watch the podcast here. You can get it on YouTube. You can get it on Spotify, Apple, anywhere you get your podcast. Just type in Jersey Sports Zone. It's just as easy as that. And we do appreciate everyone taking the time to enjoy the season with us. That's what's going on here. We try and pull the curtain behind the scenes and do that. Don't forget that coming up next week, we'll have another great episode that drops every Wednesday, year in, year out. We're here every Wednesday to give you the greatest and best of New Jersey high school sports. Big thanks to RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together. They are the title sponsor of Jersey Sports Zone, and they are the main sponsor of this podcast. For James Mooney, I'm Rich Crampanis. This has been episode 21 of Beyond the Score. We got blackjack. We'll see you next week.
It's official. Jack Hughes has signed on the dotted line.
Jack Hughes has just inked a new deal.
He's on our team now, baby. He's locked in.
Jack Hughes has signed with a new team. Because Jack knows if he wants to go unchecked on the ice, he needs to get checked by the pros off the ice.
Get checked.